Hey folks, Jack here from Peach Guitars. Today I'm going to give you a quick run through of what I think to be the most exciting signature model that was released this year. For the start of 2021 from Gibson, we've actually seen quite a few artist models, but this one really stood out to me. This is the Kirk Douglas signature guitar, and if you haven't heard that name before, apart from the legendary actor of course, Kirk Douglas plays in the band The Roots, who back up Jimmy Fallon, the American talk show host. So we Brits over here don't get exposed to that band very often, but I'm sure any American viewers will know exactly who The Roots are and will know exactly who Kirk Douglas is. So, that aside, this instrument really appealed to me because it just seemed to be like one of those perfect storms of an artist needing stuff from their instrument. And what I mean by that is it's not just a case of a company comes along and offers an artist the opportunity to stick their name on a guitar that they happen to use, and they're happy with that deal. Obviously, a lot of thought has gone into the design of this to make it a practical utility instrument that a working musician like Kirk Douglas actually needs to use. So that always appeals to me anyway. I always think that's great when a guitar is designed that way, because you know that everything on it has been very closely considered, and it means that this is the result of a lot of trial and error and making sure that all the tones that one musician could possibly need to use to cover a multitude of different styles has been factored in to some degree with this guitar. And I think that's very much the case here. We don't often see this kind of thing from Gibson, in fact. They tend to be a little bit more conservative maybe, and stick to kind of stock models that they produced from the 50s onwards. But I like that what they've done here is they've kind of got the marriage right of adhering to a lot of the design principles of a late 60s SG Custom, which I believe this guitar has its roots, if you'll pardon that pun, in. But they've obviously modernised it a little bit with a couple of really cool colour choices, specifically this Inverness Green. Now I've also got the ebony model down here to my side, and I think that they're both absolutely stunning looking guitars. Certainly my head would say to get the ebony. It's the practical choice. It looks classy, it looks classic, but my heart and soul is screaming out, get the green. The green I think is really, really cool. It's certainly unlike anything else I've seen from Gibson in their USA collection for a very long time. This kind of finish, I guess, typically would only be associated with custom shop level instruments. And that's the other thing that really stands out about this guitar to me. This isn't a custom shop guitar. This is a standard Gibson USA collection instrument, and it's priced accordingly. So despite the fact that this looks every bit the custom shop level in terms of its aesthetics and its quality, it's actually priced like a USA Gibson is. So you may be surprised to click the link in the description box below and head to our website and check out the price of this for yourself if you haven't seen it already. Now, this video is going to be a little bit of a kind of a walkthrough of the controls, because rather than strategically record clips of what the guitar can do, I thought it better to actually explain it, because there's 3 pickups obviously, but the wiring on this thing is not confusing, but it is quite extensive. So I just want to walk through kind of how I would go about getting certain tones out of this guitar. Now I can't speak for how Kirk Douglas himself uses this guitar, because being in the musical position that he is, he obviously just uses it for so many different styles on the show and the Roots original music on their records and stuff like that. It's very much a textural instrument, and it can be used that way. So really it's down to the user to decide how they want to use it, which is very cool once again. So let me break this down. Right, so at the intro there, you heard me using a bit of gain, and I'm using the overdrive sound from this Mesa Boogie Fillmore 25 today. I'm also going to use it for the clean channel, and I was using mostly the neck pickup. So this 3-way position switch here operates exactly like any other Gibson 3-position switch you'll have used in the past. So you get neck, you get both outside pickups in the middle, and you get bridge in the treble position. The middle pickup is operated solely by this volume knob here. So this looks like a standard configuration of 2 tones and 2 volumes, but what you've actually got is 3 individual volumes here and 1 master tone. So you might not be able to see this on the camera, but bridge volume down here, neck volume here in traditional Gibson fashion, but what would normally be the neck tone is actually the middle pickup volume. Hopefully you're with me so far. Each of these volume controls has individual push-pull pots to split the coils, and that's actually what I was using at the start there. I was using the neck pickup in split coil mode. So that's what all this stuff does. You may not have even noticed that there's a fifth control on this guitar. It's very stealthy, it looks very cool, and it works really well. This is a master volume. So once you've blended in your ideal tone down here, if you just want to affect the volume or affect the gain, all you have to really worry about is this control here, which is really close to your picking position, so it's really easy to get volume swells. That's what Kirk has claimed, that was the reason he wanted to implement this. But I actually think it's better than that. I think you can actually use it in so many different ways than just that. For example, I've talked before about the fact that I love the tone of these two pickups on a Gibson guitar together with the neck rolled off a little bit. And now you have an overall volume to be able to control that tone. Let me give you an example, okay? I'm going to switch to the clean so you can hear the pickups with a bit more clarity. No pedals on at the moment, but let me just show you the different tones. I'm not going to walk through everything, but I'm going to show you a few different tones. And hopefully now that I've explained what it all does, you'll be able to keep up with me as I sort of move through the switching options. So those are all the humbucking pickup options that you've got. I didn't split any of the coils there. But something that I love about SGs in general, but this guitar in particular really has this down, you don't really have to split the coils if you don't want to, because it's got an abundance of clarity to it. So you'll hear on the clean sound there, these pickups aren't really hot, they're not overwound. You've actually just got a standard configuration of burst bucker pickups. I believe it's burst bucker 1 in the neck, burst bucker 2 in the middle, and burst bucker 3, so the highest output, in the bridge. But you can kind of get most of the tones, I feel, that I would need anyway, just with the humbucking tones. But then you've got the split coil options on top of that. So if I do a similar kind of thing, but I'll just split, I'll split each of the pickups actually. No, actually, I'll split the two outside pickups, leave the middle humbucker as a humbucker, and you'll hear the difference there. So let me do the same kind of thing again. So loads of really cool combinations there. I can't go through everything, obviously, but just by playing around, and almost it's nice because you can kind of fumble around and get sounds blindly. and you just kind of land on what sounds good without necessarily knowing what's going on. I actually kind of like that in guitars sometimes, where the control is almost taken out of your hands a little bit, if you want to go down that kind of route. And if you just want to play with these controls, there's no bad sound to be had. There's no horrible out of phase sounds that will creep up on you unexpectedly. The split coil sounds actually sound really good. And if you're playing with some gain, there's not a huge volume discrepancy either. So let me go back to the gain channel, and I'll just play around with some of the split coil sounds. So I'll keep the neck pickup in split coil mode, and maybe play around with splitting the middle as well. But let me just give you some more combinations this way. Quite a range of sounds there. I mean, I did keep the neck in split coil mode, like I said, but even when I went to just the bridge pickup by itself with a load of gain, it does what a good Gibson guitar typically does under gain as well. So I just love the fact that you can zip about all these different tones. I did turn on an extra overdrive pedal there on top of the gain channel on the amp, which is the Mesa Boogie Clio overdrive, so that kind of gave me some thickness as well. But it's just a great sounding guitar in its own right. You know, it doesn't really compare to anything else, I don't think, that Gibson currently make in their standard lineup anyway. This master volume is so useful. So let me just give a quick demonstration of what I said before about using both these pickups as an example. I'm going to take the middle pickup out of the equation, put the neck to about 7 and the bridge volume full up, and I'm going to use these two and use this master volume just to limit the gain of that tone. Check this out. That works great, and that's something, once again, you can't do with standard wiring on any other Gibson, and I really like that. So that's kind of the wiring covered. You know, like I said, there's loads more going on with it than I can really explain in one video, but I think you get the gist by now. So some of the other appointments on this guitar that I think really make it work. One is this vibrola tailpiece, which I actually had tucked out the way there. You know, this isn't most people's go-to bridge, but it's obviously proprietary on a Gibson guitar, on an SG especially, and I actually think for certain tasks, like clean, shimmery Bigsby style use, it has a nice impact. Let me give an example of that quickly. So clean tone. Sounds nice for that, but I actually think that the tone that this has, even when you're not using it, adds something unique to the guitar, and it kind of applies to most SGs with this tailpiece as well. It just changes the mid-range slightly. It's like a little bit of a kind of a cutting tool, and you can use it really just to cut through a mix. I don't know if that was part of the reason that Kirk decided to have this on his guitar, but it works great for that, as opposed to a stop tailpiece SG, which I know a lot of people do prefer, but this just has something different. It sounds unlike a stop tailpiece SG, whether you decide to use this or not. So that's quite cool. Now, adding to the custom aesthetic that I talked about is the custom inlaid headstock, which just looks fantastic. You've also got the custom block inlays. Rosewood fingerboard on these guitars, which is bound as well. So that looks super premium. On the ebony guitar, I think it looks even sleeker with the gold hardware. But this one has a little bit more of a retro kind of thing to it, and it still looks very classy. So this has got chrome hardware as opposed to the gold hardware on the ebony guitar. That's about it for differences in terms of just the color scheme and the difference in hardware. Everything else is the same between the two models. That makes it especially hard to pick. But you know what? I just think this is one of the best models that Gibson have put out in recent times. Like I said, this is the most excited I've felt about a signature guitar for quite some time, and just playing it, the nice thing about this is it doesn't feel like there's an artist looming over you all the time, and you kind of feel compelled to stay in that particular lane. The only moniker of his is this very cool Captain moniker on this tailpiece, which is actually very hard to notice if you're not looking for things like that. There's no signature on the headstock, nothing like that. It's just a great Gibson guitar with a subtle nod to its you know, kind of the person who spearheaded this design. And that's about it. It's just a great Gibson guitar for 2021. I'm very excited that these things exist. And if you share that excitement, make sure you like this video when you've finished with it so you can show me your excitement. Comment in the comment section below as well to let me know what you think about this guitar. Head to the website if you want more information, all that stuff. I just think it's pretty solid. So let me show you some more tones on the way out. But thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you soon.